Good morning, Southern California, AM 1220, KHTS. This is your host, Fred Arnold, on the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. Joined by Jake Young. Jake Young is a mortgage advisor at American Family Funding. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Fred. I always enjoy coming on your show. So
Yep, been a guest many times, and today we're going to talk about mortgage insurance, all about mortgage insurance, buying a house with less than 20% down.
Right. So when I'm out in the community a lot doing, whether it's community events, youth sports, church organization stuff, I'll have conversations with people, and a lot of it has to do with, can I buy a house without having 20%? Because that's a pitfall. It's hard to come up with that huge of a down payment, especially with home prices where they are in Santa Clarita. And so I have a lot of conversations with about that, trying to dispel that myth, if you will, that you can still get into a house, still buy a house if you have less than 20% down. There's a couple ways you can do it.
So let's talk about the first way, and I'm going to ask you about this. I'll lead into the question, FHA, because this seems like the least amount of money down with mortgage insurance.
Okay, so good question. So FHA is a common loan product. FHA stands for Federal Housing Administration. And so FHA, actually the bank will loan the money, and FHA, or the federal government, will actually issue an insurance policy. Whenever you put less than 20%, you have this word that comes into play called mortgage insurance. And so FHA is a common product because you can buy a house using FHA financing. The bank will fund the loan, the federal government will give an insurance policy, and the minimum down payment you need is 3.5% to buy a house.
And so let me back up again. 3.5% on, let's just say $500,000 is around $20,000. It's very inexpensive to get into that expensive of a house as far as the down payment goes.
Correct. So it's a great tool in the shed, if you will, for FHA, that you can get in to a house if you're a first-time home buyer, had little down payment, looking to be a move-up buyer and get into a house. FHA is a great tool. Now, there's pros and cons to everything from FHA to conventional loans. Probably in a second we'll talk about conventional loans. With FHA, their mortgage insurance premiums, so the monthly payment that you pay for mortgage insurance, is at the moment it's kind of high. The federal government has raised their mortgage insurance costs significantly over the last year or two. So that's something to consider. FHA loans are great for a minimum down payment. However, the trade-off is the monthly mortgage insurance may be higher than a conventional loan.
And it could last for more than 5, 7, 10 years, a conventional loan. Really quick, gift funds on an FHA loan. Let's talk about gift funds on an FHA.
Yeah, so it's common if you're, particularly with first-time home buyers, that you don't have a down payment or not very much of your own, and you may get a gift from a family member, a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, or uncle. And so FHA is a lot more lenient than a conventional loan when it comes to gift funds. And what that simply means is that a parent can gift their child, let's say, that 3.5% or that 5% to get into a house for an FHA loan, and they can give the complete gift. They can give all of the down payment. Now, the trade-off on a conventional loan, we'll talk about here in a second, with conventional financing.
Let's just jump into that.
Okay, so here we go. With conventional financing, you need to have some of the money needs to come from the borrower out of their own pocket. So let's back that up. If you trying to buy a house, you want to put 10% down, for instance, Fred. If you're going to do a conventional loan, at least 5% of the money needs to come from the actual borrower, the people that's going to be living in that house as their permanent residents. And then they may get a gift for the other 5%. So in total, they'll put 10% down, a gift for 5%, and 5% of their own funds. Whereas if FHA, the entire amount can be a gift.
So let's talk about the conventional loan. We just talked about 10% down. You're going to have mortgage insurance, right?
You will. And so the difference here with FHA and a conventional loan is mortgage insurance is called PMI. We've all heard that word, PMI. It stands for private mortgage insurance. And so again, the lender will loan the money, and then an insurance company, a private insurance company, will come in and write an insurance policy. And so the trade-off is, yes, you're going to be paying a monthly insurance premium on top of your mortgage payment. And eventually that PMI will go away, and we can talk about that. But with FHA, the mortgage insurance premium is significantly higher than the PMI, or the private mortgage payment, with a conventional loan.
Yeah, that's why it's really important you to speak with someone such as Jake to find out what is your lowest cost of funds over time when you're trying to invest in real estate. I got a question now. Is there any way you could put 10% down, for example, and avoid mortgage insurance altogether?
Yeah, so great question, and we do this all the time. There's so many ins and outs and moving parts to a loan. Not everybody's the same, so you're right. You need to sit down and have a good conversation with your mortgage planner, your mortgage professional. But yes, Fred, there is a way that you can put 10% down and avoid mortgage insurance, or if you will, perhaps even buy it out up front. So simply what that means is sometimes lenders will offer a trade-off and say, hey, listen, you have 10%, you want to get out of mortgage insurance, we can actually buy it out for you, meaning the lender can actually buy it out or use something called lender credit, so you don't have monthly mortgage insurance added on to your mortgage payment. Now, the trade-off may be you have to come in with more funds up front to buy it out, or you may even have a slightly higher interest rate, let's say a quarter to and 0.3% higher to buy out that mortgage insurance for the life of the loan.
And you got to look at the pros and cons. Does it make more sense to have that higher interest rate, that bigger tax deduction?
Correct.
Because mortgage insurance might not be tax deductible for you.
Yeah.
Depending on your tax bracket.
You can see there's a lot to go over there, a lot to handle here in a 7-minute segment, so it's imperative that you sit down with somebody who's an advocate, knows what they're doing in mortgage planning, and really go over this, particularly if you're a first-time home buyer.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Young. Jake, how can I reach you at American Family Funding?
Yeah, thanks, Fred. I can be reached at area code 661-505-4303. 505-4303.
And Jake at
AFFloans.com.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Fred.
Best to Vanessa and the kids.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Young. Jake Young with American Family Funding. Hope you enjoyed this segment of the Santa Cruz Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight. This is your host, Fred Arnold, on AM 1220 KHTS.